It is my absolute pleasure to have you here, Eric. The Low Stakes Band, I was grooving to some of the tunes before we got started, and it's very reminiscent of a sound that is something I'm happy to see coming back. For me, we're talking Dylan, we're talking, even Dylan Jr., like the Wallflowers, there's
Sure.
storytelling. There are things that I'm hearing. I think even in some cases, there's this Tom Petty sort of energy. Um, I think one of the places it makes the most sense to start off with is learning an instrument, right? How far back does this go for you? Because it seems to be a lost art with AI and everything coming into the picture these days.
Right. Oh gosh. I didn't set out to learn an instrument, strangely. We always had a guitar around the house, and I was in engineering school, actually. I studied structural engineering, of all things. But I wanted, I used to hang out with the music students because I thought, these guys are cool. They can play. So I took my limited knowledge of guitar and, no, this is back before, like you say, AI. This is back before playback tracks. This is back way back. Let's leave it at that. But the most that these guys had to practice with was Marantz that would do a half speed of a lead played at half speed, an octave lower. So, to practice these things, I was perfect. I said, look, I'll play rhythm for you forever, and you can practice your solos as long as you tell me what you did. So they were happy. I just said, okay, I learned a few new chords, and I would do that for years. So, I just was the human rhythm guitar machine, which ingratiated me with, so many of the people that I met because I would just play and play and play. So that's kind of where it really got going. And from there, I learned more and more on my own and from them as time went on. But yeah, definitely started with guitar actually, and not as songwriting. I didn't even think of myself as a songwriter.
Very interesting. At what point did you start taking is it because of them that you started kind of taking it serious, or was there an event you can more attribute to, like, hey, you know what, maybe this is something I can do? Because from engineering to stepping out and having some fun, at some point this
Right.
starts to turn into something serious. Where does that come in?
Yeah, very good question, Phil. So I was still pursuing my dream to be a guitar player, which I'm still pursuing. I may never get there, but basically, I was in several different bands. I think my first band was actually a wedding band, which is an interesting way to start because you see a very wide variety of songs. It's not just rock and roll, blues based rock, which was the thing that expected to be played in bars. I so wanted to have a bar gig, for $20 in a grimy pub, but I didn't realize how good I had it in a tux at, someone's damn convention center with the bride and the groom. And I was making good money and coming home with birthday cake and a case of beer that nobody wanted. So, but it was a really good thing to see a wide variety of different eras of music and learn a lot of different things. And then I think after a couple bands after that, I got into a blues band. And somewhere along the line, I just wrote a song. So this is interesting, and I asked the band if I could try it out, and they said, "Sure, give it a shot." So we did. We learned the song and we did it. And I still remember it was in Fort Lauderdale, and I'm at the bar after the set, and someone said, "Hey, I heard this one song you guys played, and named the song." And where did that come from? And I said, "Well, I wrote that." He goes, "Oh, wow, that was really good." Hmm. It was the first time I ever thought, like you said, maybe I could do this. So I think from then I got another song and another song, and then they were no longer fitting a blues band format. So I thought, okay, I'll have to find some other people to play with.
Okay, yeah, there are two threads I want to pull on here. One is the idea of like keeping a band together just in general. Given the number of bands you've been a part of, do you feel there's anything that you've learned looking back on it so far in your experience of like what it means to be a band, what kind of commitment you're really taking on, and what do you do when others don't want to keep going?
Oh, you asked the questions, Phil. First of all, you have to be very selective in the people you find. And sometimes you want to, I think it's better to choose reliability over talent. You know, the music, band drama is a real thing. And there are a lot of really talented people who just can't keep it together. And problem with, I always tell every band I work with, I said, if you're in a cover band, first of all, you kind of know the song before you even play it. Like, you know how it goes. So you don't need, you remember, you heard it on the radio 1,000 times. Whereas with an original band, you don't have that to go by. Maybe I have an early recording of it, but we're literally creating this, all the parts. And the other thing about it is that you have to play it the first time as if it's good. It has to be great because no one can imagine what should be. There's no years and years of hearing a song. You have to bring it that one time, and you have to be really good at it. So, um, it's interesting because you get good people and they move on. Like I had a great guitar player, Peter Parenti, if you're out there. Um, you know, he ended up playing for Gloria Stefan. I can't
Wow.
compete. I can't compete with that gig. I mean, I wish them all the luck in the world. I wasn't like leaving me, but when you get good people, other people want good people. So it's a complicated calculus when you're working in the original world. A lot of people just want to play, drink beer, and go play their old songs they've been playing for a million years. I got to say, no, no, we're not doing any of that. We're going to learn these parts. We're going to rehearse the shit out of them, and our harmony is going to be perfect, not this crap I generally hear. So it's work, a lot of work.
I love that your background is in those gig type bands because there's a certain professionalism that comes from that that doesn't come from just jamming out in your garage. I'm not saying it's
Right,
not possible, but
right, right.
there's really something to be said about that kind of experience over not having that experience. The gigging
100% agree.
aspect of things, right?
All right.
Which really puts you in the business of music when you start looking at the way things work, right?
Yeah,
But I also love the humility that you have towards understanding, talented people are going to do what talented people do.
yeah.
And if you can keep that perspective, you can only hope that you are able to maintain that relationship. If not, I also love that there was no sense of like, you know what, and they left us all behind because so many people get jaded and feel like people that they meet owe them something. And I don't hear that in you at all, which I
Yeah.
think starts to speak to the kind of artist you are and creator that you are when we start listening to some of your music, because your music also has that soul of like anti-establishment, this speaking out against and using your music for what it's supposed to be, communication, right?
Keep going.
Ideas.
You're doing good. I love this
and
guy.
and so when I see all these things come together straight from the person, you know, I always say that you can't remove an artist from their art, right? And so if the artist is one way, their art's going to be a certain way. And when it doesn't connect, you can tell someone's not being honest. I see that coming in through you.
Yeah.
So the other aspect I wanted to get into is the songwriting. Now that we're talking about this, is it we talked about how that first song went and people responded. Did you ever go start to take lessons and sort of see what's going on, or was it just craft over the years?
Yeah. I never, uh, there's, I tried to write songs after I kind of had that one going. I tried to write some more. And I noticed that I never took lessons in songwriting. I did read all the songwriting books, many of which I think are cop outs because they use musicals to describe things. And you know what I'm saying? A musical has to advance a musical, not necessarily a standalone song. A standalone song is a whole world in one song, everything. So I just started listening to the people that I thought were really good. And probably the best thing I ever did, which is I didn't read in the book, was to speak the words out of the lyrics. Just speak them. And I think it was a Paul Simon song, and it was 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. I said, the answer is all inside your head, she said to me. The answer is easy to take it logically. I'd like to help you with the struggle to be free. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. And I realized at that moment, it's a little rhymey, but it's something you could say. And that was huge for me because I said, just talk, just say what you say. Don't worry about being euphemistic or poetic. Just talk. Say the things that grab you are the things we've all heard people say before. It's patterns of speech, cliches, corrupted cliches. I love those. Like, 8 days a week, whatever, just some little, turn of the phrase, but it's just talk, ask questions, and that was huge for me because I think after that realization, I just started the original band and I probably wrote like, I don't know, 20 songs in 2 months, like just songs, get fly. I couldn't believe it, and some of them I still do. Some of them are, not so much, but, that was probably the key moment for me in songwriting. And plus one other thing I did get from a book where the guy said, tell us what this song's about. Then he's doing a songwriting class. And the student said, well, what happened was blah, blah, blah. And he said, stop, hold it. Before we release the CD, let's write down in the liner notes exactly what this song's about so everybody knows. Idea being, you can't do that. You have to make sure they know what it's about from the get-go. You can't beat around the bush much. You got to get to it. And that was an important thing. So make sure the subject's obvious, and then just talk, say what you're thinking.
Okay, I'm picking up what you're putting down. Before we dive into more of the specifics of your latest single, because that's something I want to get to, I'm curious as I listen to, it's you can grow up listening to certain styles of music, and then it would make sense as an artist that you would begin by emulating those, much like the cover band sort of background that we started with. But are there any influences that might surprise people that you listen to that you still pull from, even potentially that many may not immediately believe to be the case?
There's a couple actually that are a little bit. The first one that comes to mind is Cooder, of all people. Do you even know who he is?
No, no, that's why
Okay.
yeah, please
If you watch
educate
the
me.
Buena Vista Social Club,
Oh,
he's
yeah, yeah,
talking,
yeah,
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 that guy.
yeah.
And he has a record called Boomer's Story. And I don't think what he's doing is that bizarre, but it's very Americana, which I hadn't really been exposed to. And a lot of these chords where it's like a D and then a D sharp diminished, like those diminished chords, that kind of opened a whole new area for me. And I think I managed to write, I was very raw and I figured out I could start to hear these things. And I told this guy, so I've invented a chord. It's like this and it goes like that. And I hear the notes and I figure, well, how do you finger that? I said, man, that's just G sharp half diminished. I thought I came up with something special. But just
Right,
hearing
right.
there's a little bit out of the typical diatonic things. And the other band, and this has been done by a lot of bands, but the other band that actually really helped me, which is kind of odd, is Duran Duran,
Yeah.
because they do a little bit of this major to minor thing, which the Beatles did too. But I mean, you think of a song like Save a Prayer or Ordinary World. They start in A minor, but then they go to A major, in the chorus. It lifts this thing up. And I think for music students, you're looking at me going, come on, dude, this is no big deal. Anybody knows this. But for me, it was a big deal. And I started, working things backwards and trying to land in certain places and get out of the 1, 4, 5, 6 kind of very typical diatonic chord progressions, which I have plenty of. I'm not lacking those, but it just gave the music a new twist that I thought my next record coming out is a lot more of those. You're not hearing much of that in what you're hearing. It's pretty straight diatonic stuff. That's kind of a lot of the things I came up with were based on my hearing changing because of those kind of things.
See, what I love when I listen to you speak is how much respect you have for music as a language itself, right? From the progressions and where you're picking things up from that people may not immediately, like Buena Vista Social Club is not something
Right.
everybody would know, but
Right.
there are enough people, especially in today's generation, right? Duran Duran, maybe a closer approximation of what people assume is mainstream music, but not necessarily. I mean, this is a different time, right?
Right.
So I like those things, but it's more than just your influences. It's that you actually speak the language of music. You're talking progressions, diatonics. These are things that, not every band that sets out starts off with, and to know
Yeah.
you started off as an engineer, at what point did you start taking that aspect of music seriously?
Well, kind of from the beginning, because, I'm working with really good musicians and I'm hearing them talk, and they're saying, it's a 2-5-1 thing on, there's, I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Right, right.
So, I'm trying to play it cool, and not look like a total, dweeb. But, I started asking them things and found out some stuff. And, slowly but surely, I started to realize, the blues are 1-4-5, the regular thing everybody knows. And then, bit by bit, I started piecing stuff together, and I'm still really far away from what I need to know. My son is a very good musician, and he says, you really got to know that Paul Simon song, Still Crazy After All These Years. He said, every musical thing that happens in the world is in that one song. So he's teaching me, like, I'm not real good at this right now, but like tritone substitution, all these and the movements, where things want to go, and how diminished chord's going to work, where it's going to want to go at the end. So I'm learning this stuff, and I learn it, then I forget it. I just, I do my thing, but I'm trying to get better at it, because I just feel like there's fields, there's fertile ground out there that I haven't even gone over yet, and I'd like to. Why leave it behind? Why be arrogant about it? So I'm not doing that stuff when you may just find out one cool thing that's there. So
Yeah, no, I dig it, and thank you for going there with me, man. Means a lot. Just being able to hear someone open up about where things are coming from for them as an artist and their experiences. So now let's get to the nitty gritty here. 5 days over. It's on all streaming platforms. It's the latest single. You got to be stoked to be putting something out. You're mentioning that there's more music that people will be hearing that we talked about, so let's take it one step at a time. Let's go over 5 days over. What's the inspiration for that song? Is there a message that's behind that song?
that's one of my very first songs. And it is literally just me saying something stupid that I had the realization, like, there's an idea. The long, I'll make it short as possible. It was a Monday. My girlfriend was coming back, not on next Saturday, but the Saturday after that. So I counted across. I'll do it for you: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. And I just thought, I'll say freak it. I don't know if I can use the other word. Screw it. Instead of going back, or I'll just go straight down to next Saturday. 5 days over, one day down. I thought 5 days over one. And literally, I was just waiting. So I just picked up the guitar and just started wailing some normal chords, nothing complicated. And I wrote the song literally in 5 minutes. Just, exactly.
Those
I'm
are the
waiting
best
oh so long
ones.
for her to get back home. Getting tired of waiting. So I didn't tell you, done my time. Blah, 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 blah. Done. I'm like, wow. How does that hardly ever happens? I was really proud of that. So that was what that was. And I've often said the best way to come up with song ideas is imagine a camera on your nose that catches what you say when you're not thinking about it. Like words come out and you go, whoa, what was that? And I've written a lot of songs like that, just that contribute awareness of things you just drop out of your mouth. Like,
I love it because it almost paints the picture. You ever see the movie Walk Hard, the story of Dewey
oh,
Cox?
love that. Don't you're
Don't you
not thinking
go,
of, don't
don't
you
you
write a
go writing
song?
a song right now?
Yes.
Yeah, man. No, I love it.
That was a
Well,
beautiful
then I'm
movie.
guilty as charged.
So true. So true, man.
Oh man, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You're right though. Some of the songs that get the most replay value that is just historically true are the ones that were written in 5 minutes. At least the core aspects of it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
touch things up in general, but
Right.
that's a cool story, and just goes to show you got to trust yourself as an artist when you get that
Yeah.
instinct, that intuition. So I have on here that the Low Stakes is a duo. right? So tell me how the Low Stakes was formed.
Well, um, so I'm always trying to get a band, you know, because I have more music than I can do with just an acoustic duo. But being one who really cares about the vocals and cares about vocal harmony, I always thought the core of a good band has solid vocal harmony. I don't know that many people believe that. They think it's a killing guitar player, which I love, but I don't think that's where it's at, you know. So I thought, well, I'm trying to build a band. Let me at least advertise for a harmony singer because I can get that. We can build, we can get our act together, and then we'll find the right people and build it out to be a full band. So I think I put an ad in Craigslist, you know, just saying, you know, someone that could sing harmony easily. I said, no sopranos, need not apply. And not because I don't like sopranos. And, you know, just that my voice is barely at tenor range. And so if a soprano's in the alto range, they're kind of, it's like they're in low gear. They're not pushing, you know. I've always liked the Beatles. I feel like both their voices are pushing hard, and that push sound is good. So I thought a woman who's an alto would put us in that range, you know. So Ann wrote to me and said, you know, my husband just found this ad, and he said it sounds perfect for me. And she sent me a bunch of stuff, and wow, she's great, you know. And so we got together and just like banged them out. And the nice thing about her is no matter what song, what she knows the words, she'll come up with a harmony that's really good. Now I might want, I like weird harmonies. I have kind of my own ear for it, and she can pick them up immediately. We're not wasting time on endlessly going over, teaching the part, forgetting the part. Like she got it, she knows it. So now we're building a band. We just had a drummer in here, um, 2 days ago, who's joining us, and now we're, you know, going to build it out, get the bass player, but you got to do it carefully and slowly, get the right people.
That's so key, and I'm glad you
But
said that
building the
because
core, the vocal core is what I cared about.
I was just gonna say harmony is seemed to be the running thread from the beginning of our conversation up until even just now. It's been mentioned here and there, but we finally brought it front and center. You're right. The harmonies. I mean, you can look at a song like "Man of Constant Sorrow" from "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou," right? What would that song be without those harmonies that
Well,
come in? You,
right.
you know what I mean? I'm just thinking of like something that people may pick up or know universally from
Sure.
watching that movie.
I mean,
Go
and I
on.
grew up on the Beatles, obviously, and
Well,
then
yeah,
Simon and Garfunkel. I mean, listen to America. I mean, my God, it's just so Art Garfunkel. That guy can just sing so well. And then you know, I get a little older, and they got the Bee Gees. I mean, talk about harmony. You
yeah.
know, it's just wow. So I'm Eagles. They all did. You know, they all did
Oh
amazing
man, the
harmony. You know,
Eagles.
so that's
Yeah.
what I'm hearing in my head, and that's what I want. I see these bands I don't like to, I won't rag on any band, but I've seen bands that are really well known. I won't mention any names, but they're well known. I love them. I love their records. And I've seen them live or on YouTube's live, and the harmonies just are crap. Like they're not even close. It's like, come on, guys. How do you let that not, you know, great harmony can save a shit band, but bad harmonies can kill a great band, you know? So make
Right.
sure it's right. If you can't hear yourself, find a way to hear yourself. It's hard, you know, it is hard with all the noise and the monitors and all. You know.
You bring up a good point. I mean, I'm thinking in terms of Beatles, coming back to what you were saying. I mean, Help, Eleanor Rigby, any one of the songs. I'm starting to go back to the catalog here, and you're right. Um, Harmonies make a big difference. Good
Listen
harmonies,
to
especially
Because.
because.
That's the one you should listen to. It's like, it's incredible. I mean, there's so many good ones, but that song is, I think they got three Beatles singing like three parts, and it's just this amazing, you know. I think it was based on Moonlight Sonata played backwards,
Oh,
strangely.
okay. Wow. Let's talk about this because I have here in my notes that you recently performed at the Kerrville Folk Festival. Are you currently touring with the Low Stakes? Like doing? I know you said you're building the band, but even regardless, I imagine that won't stop the show. Are you gigging right now?
No, we are gigging, but the tour is just down the street. I'm
Right.
not on tour per se. You know, Kerrville was That was, it's in Texas. It was an honor to get invited. I remember being there thinking, okay, I wrote some good songs. They got me here. I played them acoustically, but I ain't no folky. I grew up when, there was a lot of folk going around. I mean, Simon and Garfunkel could be considered folk,
Yeah.
back in those days. But, like all things, I mean, pop used to be, well, whatever's popular. It could be country, it could be R&B, it could be whatever is popular. But now those things have all fingered off into their own very narrow bands of being. Pop means one thing, folk means something else, rock means something else. It's very, very narrow. And I just don't want to be constrained by that. I want to just, if the song should be presented as this, that's how I'm going to present it within the limitations of what I know. I'm no rapper. I don't know enough to be a jazz person, but I had jazzy-ish sounding things. I figured out a couple of weird chords, but I can't do those things. So I do what I can do in the area I know.
I love that you bring that up because the easiest way they say to market yourself as a musician is to go as narrow as you can possibly go. I
Yeah.
make space pop funk music for people who watch pictures of NASA all day. I mean, they really get you to go that deep. But as an artist, you're like, look, man, I just want to write songs, and if you with a groove to it, maybe
Yeah.
sometimes not a groove, but some cool harmonies or lyrical turns of
Right.
phrases, and somehow, however, everything has to be productized. It's got to kill the soul of music. Like you said, pop used to be, whatever was grooving at the time that everybody liked to listen to, and it didn't matter. And somewhere along the way that changed and product became a thing and everyone is separated, which on one end opens up specific avenues, sure.
True.
But
Yeah.
now it's so saturated that those avenues that opened up don't even matter anymore because
Right.
like you said, making a living in music. And, now we're talking about the age of AI and everything. It changes all that. I mean, have you used any of that stuff to just groove with and see how it works?
I don't, I know it stands for artificial intelligence. I got
Right,
that.
right.
But I don't know. I mean, I remember listening to Joe Walsh talk about the way he talks, get together in a garage with a bunch of guys and just make music. I'm doing a bad Joe Walsh, but he has that kind of a little crazy attitude to him. And I just love the guy. It's like, yeah, make music with people. I mean, to me, that's what it's always been about. Even this record, I mean, there's no perfection at all. There's no click used. Everything was played, okay, here's the tempo, you know, let's do a take, let's sing it. That's a better take. It's not happening. It does come back a different day. Things were added afterward, but it was done essentially live. We didn't get into, I don't even use a click for Christ's sake. So, I mean, in this world of, I keep seeing, Facebook, Suno or something.
Yeah, yeah, Suno, yeah.
I don't know what it does. I'm just, and I don't want to disparage other people's stuff, but
Sure,
I'm
sure.
not interested in it. I want to be in a room with people that I know we've played together and we kind of feel each other and know how that's what I love. That's why I'm in it, not to make these perfect things. So I'm
I
not
love
worried
that
about
you made that distinction. You know exactly why you're in music to begin with as a whole. I saw the video you have on YouTube of 5 days over. Uh and first of all, it was shot great. It's a sharp look.
it. Oh, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah. Right.
you're
Okay.
both
I
doing
remember
your
that.
thing. Yeah, and you're mic'd up nice. I mean, the I was like, yeah, I know exactly what this music is trying to accomplish, and it's doing a very good job of that. So for me, I'm like, when you tell me, make music with people, I get it. I get it when
Yeah.
I hear that. And that's it. You
Right.
have already alluded that you'll be dropping some more stuff that has those chords that you've been looking to use for a while now. I'm looking forward to that. So in the spirit of that, I want to roll out the red carpet for you and give the listeners, a go-to place, right? Where do you want them to go? Where do you want them to connect with you? Where are you most active? All the good things.
I would say, in the world, I mean, normally I would have said our website, but I'm getting hip to the idea that's not the way the world works anymore. So, go to our Facebook page, the Low Stakes, band Facebook page, or our Instagram. And that's where there's a constant turnover of new material and new discussions and that sort of thing, as opposed to the website, which, I update a few shows, but we will be putting those things on Facebook anyway. So I would say, For me, and I think the demographic that I'm speaking to, Facebook, the low stakes band Facebook page would be probably the best place to go.
I respect that, and that's such a just goes to show how much you pay attention to what's really going on. Because you're right.
Well,
At
I'm
this
being
point,
told by people who know. I don't know what the hell's going on.
it's true
But
though. I mean,
thank
you
you.
still need the website
Yeah, yeah,
for search engine optimization, as they say.
sure. And people go
Um,
and find out more about you where you're playing, but
right.
no one does websites
But
anymore.
no one, it's just another place people have to go, and people are tired
Yeah,
of going places online. 100% true. But your music is also available on Spotify, Apple Music, all of the
yeah.
above, correct?
That's also new for me too. I wouldn't do it before.
Really?
I very much was against the whole. I mean, come on, it's slave wages, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
and in my mind, the lie is people find out about your music on Spotify and then they'll buy it from you. I think that's bullshit.
Yeah,
I don't
people,
think they
people
will.
don't buy music anymore, man. They
No,
really
they're not
don't.
going to like, oh, I like this guy. Let me go to his website and buy a CD. I don't think it's going to happen.
They
So
might do it at a support, like at a
yeah,
show or
they might.
something. Yeah,
They might. I guess what I'm thinking is you need to be there because everyone expects you to be there.
yeah,
And I want to play live because that's the one thing AI can't do.
yeah. No, 100%.
You can't get a band and go, hey, AI band go out. Maybe they'll get to that someday. I think they're
Some
at least a
people are
year or two
trying,
away.
man. I was
Right,
at
right.
NAM recently, and they're really
Oh
trying to
no.
have robots playing strings, man.
Well, good luck fucking the robot later. Jesus Christ, what do we
No,
come
you're
to,
you're
man?
right though, man. Music is part of
Let's go
life.
party afterwards. Bring your robot. We'll have a few beer. Clank, clank. I don't know, man. I want to play live in front of people with a band and just, sweat and scream and just do it. That's what it's about. For
Yeah,
me, you know?
100%, man. And the truth is, as this technology continues to move, because Lord knows we can't fight it, the only thing left in the world will be to just be human. And music, I think, is probably the closest we can get to being as human as possible.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. And I do believe it's going to turn around, though. I do believe all this movement toward AI is going to a point, and people are going to say, "Really, is this what we're doing?" And then suddenly everyone will want to be live again. And how lo-fi can they do it? I mean, there's a little bit of that. Grunge was basically that. I mean, at a time in the '80s, rock and roll with like Journey and those kind of bands, you needed like a male gelding that could sing the soprano range and a perfectly corporate band to do anything. And then grunge came along and said, we're going to have guys who just have a normal voice and we're going to sing, we're going to gaze at our shoes, and we're not going to worry about it that much. And we're going to just put it out there. So that was the first reaction to corporatization, if you will, and perfection in music. So I think this just a bigger bubble is going to happen with AI at some.
Man, I love that you're putting all that down. You honestly, if I were to watch your social media and you were dropping stuff like that, I think it would add so much value and show a different side to you as an artist, pulling from those kinds of things. If nobody's giving you that feedback yet, I think it's an undervalued resource, which is your experience and your knowledge of how music has evolved. It puts you sort of in a category similar to like Rick Beato, and being able to
I
speak to
love
these.
Rick.
I
Yeah.
love Rick, man.
Yeah.
So for me, that's the energy that I was getting from the way I heard you break that down, and you were coming from a real place in your heart, and so that was clear to me. So
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
think we could end this conversation on a better note than that. So with
Great.
that, I appreciate you, Eric. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and
Also,
hopefully we talk again soon.